The Premier League weekend begins at Kenilworth Road with Luton against Tottenham, and it all gets underway in under an hour's time. Welcome along then. We've got a packed programme for you as always on Matchday Live. Delighted to have Peter Schmeichel and Darren Bent with me in the studio. So much to look forward to over this weekend, Darren. Not least your former club, one of them in Spurs, possibly going top of the pile in our early game.
Yeah, great incentive for them. As you see, look at their last couple of results against Arsenal and Liverpool. I know there's a bit of controversy around the Liverpool result, but played really well in that game, you'd have to say. And they'll probably be looking at this game against Luton today thinking, do you know what? We should win this game and we should find ourselves top by the end of play tonight. And
this is what we want to see, right, from Spurs under Ange Postecoglou, is that they are a different beast, and that Spursy tag, which, you know, has followed them for so many years, that they can beat Liverpool and then go away to Luton and get the 3 points.
It's a big test for them today. So we've been here before. You know, I think that start to the last campaign was, in fact, a little bit better than what they've done this time around. It's a massive test to go to somewhere like Luton where they are expected to win. Their supporters will think this is an easy win and we should be top of the pile tonight. But that's not how the Premier League is. It's not. And if you look at Luton, you would think Luton coming into the Premier League, they would be turned over a few times. They haven't. No. They've been very, very stopping. Rob Edwards has done a fantastic job. They've been stopping. And yes, they lost on Tuesday, but they lost narrowly. It's 2-1. It's not an easy team to play against. And last time we saw them on goal rush,
we did against Everton.
They beat Everton away from home. No one expected that. So Tottenham will win if they do their job and they do what they've done in the previous games.
So City currently top, of course, but they could be superseded in the next couple of hours should Spurs win away to Luton in our early game today. Let's go pitch side at Kenilworth Road. Olivia Bazaglo joins us. Olivia, always good to see you. So just remind us then of both starting 11s.
Manish, I wish I was pitch side because it's a lot warmer down there when the sun's out. Up here it's actually quite chilly and a little bit windy, so I'm excited to get back down there. But yes, the team news is in, and Rob Edwards has made 3 changes to the team that lost here against Burnley earlier this week. In comes Mads Anderson and Reece Burke to the back line, and Elijah Adebayo is rewarded after scoring his first Premier League goal in that defeat. He starts up top alongside Carlton Morris. Amari Bell limped off in that Burnley defeat with a hamstring injury. He's out altogether, and Mengi and Kabore drop to the bench. Well, as for Spurs, they want their unbeaten run in the Premier League to continue, and it's no surprise that they are unchanged from the team that beat Liverpool in dramatic but controversial fashion last weekend. So I'll quickly run you through that team. It's Vicario in goal, a back four of Udogie, Romero, Van der Ven and Pedro Porro, Sarr and Basuma in midfield, Kulusevski, Maddison and Richarlison behind Son Heung-min, who scored 6 goals in his last 4 Premier League games. Giovanni Lo Celso and Brian Hill have both been out with their respective injuries, but they're both back on the bench today, so welcome returns for Ange Postecoglou. There you can see the Luton goalkeepers have just come out to warm up behind me. One thing is for sure, no matter what happens, it doesn't even matter this the 12:30 kickoff. I've been here a couple of times this season and these fans are going to make so much noise. I think they're just excited to welcome their first Big Six club to Kenilworth Road this season. Can Luton spring a surprise? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it should be a great occasion for them from a windy gantry at Kenilworth Road then. Thank you very much, Olivia. Now, actually, something that you touched upon, Peter, just a short while ago, Spurs' start. I mean, we've been so kind of, I suppose, waxing lyrical, right, over Spurs this season. Unbeaten in 7, 5 wins, 2 draws. But if you compare it to this stage in the last campaign under Antonio Conte, I mean, you would never have thought it, is that actually they did just as well, right? Look at this. If anything, they've scored just 1 less goal than last season. It was better last time round.
It's one of those where, and that's why you can't get carried away, because as you said there, at the start of last season, people were like, you know what, this might be the year that Spurs crack it, they win something, they could potentially win the league. So they've got off to an unbelievable start. And again, this season as well, you can hear the whispers already. Oh, could they be the ones to challenge Manchester City? Could they win this? Could they win that? They've got a year without Europe, so I think that will help them this season as well. But you've got a long way to go. But what you can say is the signs have been very, very good. I think the Spurs fans this season are enjoying watching their football more so than even the start of last season, where it was a bit more pragmatic. But it's about, can you keep it going? I still think their squad's a little bit light, in my opinion. I think if they lose 1 or 2 players, I think they could struggle. But you can't argue with the start they've made. They've been superb.
Yeah, I agree with the lightness of a squad. I don't think that's not the strength in depth that you need in order to challenge a team like Manchester City. These guys, they don't know how to win. That's very important. They know how to play good football. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to get it over the line. Man City do. They have done this so many times. I'm not worried, but when I watched the Liverpool game, when Liverpool went down to 10 men and then eventually down to 9 men, then that was a point where Spurs then had to create the game.
Yeah.
They were playing against a low block, and they didn't seem comfortable there. Ange's game is all about the quick, direct passes up through the middle, cutting through the whole team and turning the game quickly. They don't seem to be, not on the evidence of one game, so it might not be correct what I'm saying, but I expect it'll be a little bit today where they have to dominate the game. And it was just like it come a bit stalled. They didn't know what to do, and eventually, of course, they scored, but it was an own goal.
But they forced the issue in the end, Pete.
Yeah, I know, but they were playing against 9 men.
Yeah.
Also, they kept trying to get down the middle of the game. Obviously, when you go down to 9 men, you have to go round them. The block there, it was too difficult. But they kept doing the same things. And ultimately, they got the result with a bit of fortune at the end with the own goal. But I do think what Pete's saying there is correct, is that when you've got to make the game... Look, Luton today are going to be so solid. They're going to be compact, no space. Can they find a way? It's not that easy to just go... Through the lines, you're going to have to work your way around. You have to find different opportunities, and that's, I think, going to be the more they progress, Spurs, I think, under Ange, the more they're going to have to find different ways to win, because teams will start to suss them out.
Well, if results go their way, Spurs could well go into the international break top of the pile. So let's hear then from the Luton boss. Here is Rob Edwards.
Rob, a great win last weekend. What do you want to repeat from that performance today, and what do you want to do better from Tuesday?
We actually played better on Tuesday and lost the game than we did against Everton. So repeat, try and score more goals than them, which will be tough. But then the performance, the basics, we did really, really well. Obviously, we were clinical. Those things we've got to make sure, because against Tottenham, we know we're probably not going to get that many chances. So we're going to have to be ruthless at the right times, and then we're going to have to be almost perfect without the ball.
And looking at your team today, it's 3 changes to your side. What's the thinking there?
Well, after the game, I'll be able to explain my thinking a little bit more. Amari is missing Amari Bell because of his hamstring injury, which we know and we spoke about yesterday. But we feel we've picked a team that will be able to, with and without the ball, hopefully, nullify them to an extent, and then hopefully cause them some problems then with the ball. So we've got to try and play to our strengths and try and expose the very few weaknesses that they have.
You said in your programme notes that Tottenham's visit here today is a step up in class. So how do you see the challenge of them being different to who you faced here so far?
I think, they're a stronger team, and this is no disrespect to anyone that we've played so far. They've all been very, very big challenges for us, but I think this is a team now that are competing for Champions League football. They've got world-class individuals, and they've got a manager I think is top level. They've got momentum at the moment. They've got a real feel-good factor and a confidence about them. So it's a massive challenge for us, but one we want to try and enjoy.
And looking to end a pretty frustrating week on a high. Picked up their first ever Premier League win, as you mentioned, against Everton last Saturday. But then that was almost punctured, that optimism, by the home defeat to Burnley.
Yeah, but I think that's just the reality of where they are. So they can go to Everton and win. They deserve to win that game, for sure. And then they take, they lose at home to Burnley in a game that probably, again, looking back at, they should have won that. They had so many chances in the second half. It was a much better performance from them in the second half.
Yeah.
And I just think that is a reality of being that, so in that last third of the Premier League, that, one of the reasons is always that you don't score enough goals. If you don't have people to put the ball in the back of the net, you will have results like that. You won't win games. And that's, I think, is a reality for Luton at the moment.
Here's the Spurs head coach, Ange Postecoglou.
And your team is unchanged from last week, so both Son and Maddison are fit to start. How important is it to keep that consistency in the team?
Yeah, fair to say, at this stage of the year, it's great if we can sort of put a consistent lineup out there. We've obviously had a few injuries, but the core group, the group's got through the first 7-8 weeks pretty well.
Luton are such a unique football club, and arriving here today, you can see just how different it can be to some other Premier League grounds. They're making quite a lot of noise already. What are you expecting from them out on the pitch?
Yeah, tough game. You look at their performances this year. The results haven't been what they wanted, but they've been in every game, and particularly here at home. It's going to be a tough one for us, but it's a good challenge for us and one we're looking forward to.
You'll be top of the league if you get a win here today. Does that give the dressing room any extra motivation?
No, I don't think so. I think being top of the league in October or November is the end game. But it's a reflection of sort of our good start to the season, and that's been on the back of really strong performances, and we're going to need one today.
I imagine nice to go into the second international break unbeaten, though. That'll be an aim.
Yeah, again, good performance. That's the key for us. We've been really consistent. The patches in games we haven't been at our best, but for the most part we've competed really well. Like I said, against a strong Luton team at home, we're going to need that today.
So he names an unchanged 11 to the team that beat Liverpool, albeit in controversial circumstances last weekend. So Son starts, leads the line again, their newly appointed skipper.